Whew. All right, guys, good morning. Oh, forgot. All right, guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for tuning in to another Suzuki Burgman motovlog. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Suzuki Burgman 400 as a highway bike, because nobody has put a video on it, on how good of a highway bike it is. And it's one of the questions that I had when I was first interested in getting this bike, of, hey, how is it on the highway? And let me tell you this, that way you don't have to watch the rest of it. It is a great highway scooter. It is very capable of going 90 miles an hour. It is very comfortable. There are two seating positions. You can either have your legs kicked out like this, or you can have them on the floorboards like this. Makes it very comfortable for long distance riding. My commute is typically, oh, sorry, I'm getting a little bit of a cold. My commute is typically 37 miles. But I have no problem doing 100 miles, or even more than that, like 180, now that I think about it. 150 to 180 on this bike non-stop, because it's just comfortable. The wind fairing does a lot. It takes a lot of the wind off of your head and chest. And then my particular bike has these handguards right here on both the throttle and on the brake side, and it makes it incredibly comfortable. Takes the wind off your hands, especially on cold days like today. There's not really much pressure on my hands. There's no pressure on my chest, no pressure on my head. It's literally like sitting at a kitchen table. And right now we're going 75 miles an hour indicated. For those of you who are Southern California natives, you'll know that this is the 91 freeway, and I'm about to get onto the 15 freeway. And as you can see by the stars and bars over there, it is a very windy day today. So it might be a little bit noisy. Today, and might be blown around a little bit more than what I normally am. But usually, this thing is she just purrs at 70 miles an hour. It's like literally super quiet. But yeah, so hopefully this wind becomes a tailwind, and then I could go from there. It definitely has the capability of passing pretty quickly, assuming traffic is going the speed limit. But traffic is like never going the speed limit here in Southern California. People are typically going 80, 85 miles an hour. But it still has some passing power. I wouldn't really want to take this thing past 90 miles an hour. It usually cruises, like putters at 70, and then like you have a lot of power between 70 and 80 to get moving around people. But for most of you guys, that's plenty of enough. But I typically find myself riding this thing at about 85, and my gas mileage average is about 49 miles per gallon. So it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And with a 2.5 gallon tank, I typically can fill it up to 3 gallons, because I fill it with the bike standing up, and then I shake it left to right to get any air pockets out of the tank. I can typically get like almost 3 gallons out of there. So if I'm riding it the way that I usually am, I can get about 150 miles out of it. 150 miles, and by the time I feel a little uncomfortable with how far the gas gauge is in the empty. But one of the things that I don't like about this bike is I split lanes a lot. And for those of you who can split lanes, you'll know what I'm talking about. Typically on the number 1 and number 2 lane, if you go in the very middle, that's where they have a expansion joint, and with these tiny tires, it's got a small tire in the front, well, smaller than I'm used to. I think it's got like a 15-inch tire or something like that. It likes to follow the cracks a lot. But if you stay in the middle of the road, stay in the middle of your lane, and you're not lane splitting, then it's fine. It's totally fine. Doesn't wander at all or anything like that. It's great. Like right now, I'm cruising at 82 miles an hour at 7,000 RPMs. It's a little high, but I'm used to riding the XT250 on the highway and constantly ringing it out, so hitting the red line and everything like that. But for this, there's definitely room. Like at 79 miles an hour, if I get on the gas, it definitely still has some get up and go, like for passing 80, 85, and we're at 90, so it can still get moving. But you know, it's just, if you're going the speed limit like 70 and below, you'll be fine. It's perfect for that. There's a wind fairing made by Givi. I don't know how to pronounce it. Givi, where the wind fairing comes out to the sides like that, and it takes a lot of the. I heard it's like a perfect windshield, because it takes pretty much. It puts you in this tiny little bubble of air, where it feels like nothing's on you. Like, it feels like nothing's on me right now, but there is still a little bit of wind on my forearms right here. But that's pretty much it. The seating position in terms of wind on my legs, there's a little bit of wind on my calves. As that wind goes around that fairing, it kind of swoops back under. But I'm planning on getting a leg. Oh, look at this. That's typical California stuff, where people are always in a hurry. And of course, one guy gives the other guy the bird. But yeah, that's kind of what you have to be aware of. Like, we're traveling at almost 90 miles an hour right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and get in the middle lane and just kind of cruise with you guys. But yeah, it's great. Like, let's see how fast the slow lane's going here. See, it's 70 miles an hour is the posted speed limit, but everybody goes way faster than that. This is 70 miles an hour, and it feels like I'm going slow. It feels like my bike's not even on right now. But like, it's just kind of, your use, it may vary depending on what state you're in, or depending on what part of the state you're in. Like, actually, that van is pulling away from me, and we're doing 70, so he's probably doing 75 or 80. So let's get back on it, because I don't want to get caught in a bunch of traffic. We're causing a bunch of traffic. But yeah, there we go. We're up to 90 already. But yeah, it's not. This bike isn't slow, and I'm glad to have it, because the XT is slow. It's a slouch, but it's super easy to ride. It has a double disc brake in the front, so if you do need to do any emergency braking, you do have a bunch of stopping power, but you got to be careful when you use it, because this model is not the ABS version, so you can lock up the front real fast, which may be a problem, especially if it's if you don't know how to ride. But yeah, it's a great bike. One of the things that I don't like about it on the highway is the headlights. When I ride at night, which I typically do, half of my riding is done at night, the headlights don't point as far up as they need to. They don't have that lane, they don't have the ability to shine further enough down the lane to see obstacles, or at least not that I'm used to, because my XT with the LED headlights that I used to have were super bright and they would project super far. But with this, even with my high beam on, it still only gets about 5 or 6 car lengths ahead. And as a motorcycle rider, you have to be able to see debris that's way ahead of you, because when you're traveling as fast as we do in Southern California, you know, you'll come up on an obstacle incredibly quickly. So I think it's like something like 50 feet a second is what the stat is when you're traveling 70 miles an hour. So imagine when you're traveling 85, it's probably about like, probably somewhere closer to 65 to 70 feet every minute, or every second. So it's literally like one Mississippi, bam, you've hit it. And that's not a lot of reaction time. So I've been thinking about putting some LED lights, some pod lights or something like that, or even converting my front headlight to LED, just to try to get some more light. The flash to pass button on my bike doesn't work. It does have a flash to pass button, which would be really cool to have. But once again, I ride with my high beams on all the time. Let me think. The mirrors on this thing, the stock mirrors are great, except for my one on the passenger side, or on the throttle side, the passenger side. On the throttle side is loose. It constantly spins, and then it just kind of lowers, and it gets really depressed. It says I quit at life. But I just got to get around to tightening that thing up, throwing some thread locker on there. The mirrors are really good. The stock factory mirrors are really good. They're really stable if they're tightened down all the way, and you can see a lot of the lanes. Really high visibility, but if you are lane splitting, they do stick out further than your handlebars, so that's something that you need to be aware of. Because with my XT250, I was so used to if my hands fit, I fit. But with this bike, the bars are shorter than the furthest point of the mirror, so it is possible to get a mirror strike while you're lane splitting. And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I can't lane split, so why are you even talking about that? But I'm in California, I can lane split, so the majority of my listener base is in California, so it is important that I say that. In terms of luggage, the bike has a ton of storage, like just like even this kind of storage, you know what I mean? Like on the dash and in the glove box. Under the seat, you can fit 2 half helmets or 1 full face helmet. So there is a ton of room under there. You can fit, I can cram my helmet, my full face helmet, and my jacket into there. But yeah, there's a ridiculous amount of under seat storage. I think it comes out to like 51 liters or something like that. But there are manufacturers who make top cases and side cases for those of you guys who are interested in touring, and this bike would be great for touring or long distances or commutes like that. It's got plenty of room for clothes, a sleeping bag, a tent. Look at my mirror just shaking away. Let me see if I can tighten it with my crescent wrench, my God-given crescent wrench. But yeah, plenty of storage upgrades in capability, so that way you can go on longer distances than your normal highway commute. But if you are just looking to commute on the highway or just on the highway, this thing is great. I haven't had a passenger around here yet. I'm gonna get my girlfriend to go on a ride with me soon. But from what I know, the seating position is really comfortable. And speaking of seating position, the seat height is 28 inches high, and it is a step-through scooter, so you can cross your legs if you wanted to. You can put your legs on one side, you can stretch out, you can, you know, crack your back if you wanted to. And speaking of backs, this bike usually has a backrest, but mine was missing when I purchased it, so I do have to order a new one. And I know this is kind of weird for me to be reviewing a like an older bike, but the resale market on these bikes is like incredibly popular. So if you can find one of these for less than $3,000, I say you snag it, because they're great. They're great commuter bikes. They are discontinued as of 2017, I think, but this thing is great. I absolutely love it. especially for most of you guys who are just using it to commute like I am. It has a great passing power. It's very comfortable to ride. You are protected from the wind and the elements. The only thing I don't like is the headlights, and like I said, when you're lane splitting, it does like to follow this little expansion joint in the roadway. But other than that, I think I pretty much covered everything. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, peace out. And sorry for putting you guys in the sun. I didn't realize my commute looked directly into the sun all morning.